And there we are. We are recording. Hi, I'm Rabbi Brian. It says so right here on the screen. No, it doesn't. It's supposed to say.
It does.
Does
In
it?
the lower left corner.
For us.
No, wait a moment.
No, only in your Zoom name.
Oh, there it is. There, here. Now I am Rabbi Brian. It says so right there. Glad you're watching. I think we have solved the echo problem on Facebook. If there's still an echo on Facebook, please let me know. I'm hoping there isn't. And here's where we just were a minute ago. Let me give a little introduction to the service before I get into that. This is an unprogrammed service. I thought about, I didn't prepare it. Bad Rabbi. I was going to take a blank journal, and I was going to write on the cover of it, I was going to write on the cover of it, the religion outside the box, liturgy and hymnal, and then open it just to show blank pages inside. There's no exact liturgy that we have here. The microphones are all open because I really am inspired by the 12-step meeting and Quakers and other groups where they allow participants to share. And it's what we've been doing at this service. If you were looking for standard liturgy coming from a rabbi, I don't think this is your place. But I'm glad you're here. I'm joined by all of these different people. Let me get all those different people on the screen. Hold on one more moment. There it is. There's all the people. And some of them are already waving. Let's do a little quick Brady box. Wave to the box to the side. Look up. Wave to that box. It's just fun for the people on YouTube to watch. And let's say hi to the people on YouTube and Facebook and Twitch. And I go back to this screen. Okay, well, good morning. Glad to see all of you this beautiful Saturday morning, the 2nd of November. How it got to be November, I don't know. We're going to start with what I'm going to refer to as humble brag time. These are the points we had previously accumulated. And I want to know, is there a thing that you learned in the last week and you want, or is there a skill, a spiritual, religious skill? Did you set a boundary and hold it? Did you accept help? Is there a thing that you're a little bit proud of? And look, folks, we're not 5 anymore. 5-year-olds, you ask them a question, does anyone want to share something you learned? And all their hands go immediately up because they all want to share and be seen. It's a little awkward as an adult saying I'm proud of something I did. I don't. There's a person who usually joins this group who's I don't see this morning, but I know that they were having a very hard time, and they spoke to the cashier at a checkout, and the cashier said, "How are you?" And they said, "Well, if you want to know, actually, I'm having a really hard time." And this person got in touch with me and said, I did a Rabbi Brian. I told somebody that I wasn't well when I wasn't well. And let's not name that after me. But let's honor me and my request by does somebody there have a thing that they learned that they want to be? Yeah, Janet, what give us a little thing to be proud of.
Where's the hand raising thing down the bottom where I'm supposed to see it?
I do not know the answer to that, Janet.
Under React.
It says React.
On the bottom
React,
of the
that's
screen,
where it would be. Oh, okay.
click on React and then click on Raised Hand.
Okay, I just thought it was something separate. All right. Anyway, well, what I did is I actually told my cousin Sue, who I live with, bought up the house together and fixed it up, that I didn't like the sink we've had in for a year. I just don't like it. It has square edges. It's a kitchen sink. Everything gets caught in it. You can't clean it, blah, blah, blah. And just went, I want a different sink. And I don't normally do that. I just go, everything's fine, It's like, and I just went, I'd had it. I'd had it.
Good for you. Good
So-
for
Yay,
you, Janet.
good work.
It seems like such a
Yay,
small.
Gene.
Listen to that. You're getting praise, Janet, for and that's
Hey,
how this
Janet.
system works. So let's see. Does somebody else have a humble brag? I'm going to add a hatch mark to that. Anyone else have a humble brag they want to share? In the meanwhile, let's move over to our correspondent, Lori, for Lori the intern's 3 moments of learning from the last week. So, Lori, tell it.
Wait.
Wait. Hold on.
Hey.
Go ahead, Maria.
Brian, I want to brag for you. There's no echo on Facebook.
Hell yeah.
Okay,
Oh, good.
Good
I'm
work.
going. I'm
Yeah.
gonna take that brag and I'm gonna raise it. I ordered 250 copies of the paperback.
What is it?
This is my book. This is my
I
my
didn't know
very
you
own
had a
book.
book.
Well, it's brand new. It arrived last Thursday, Rabbi Brian's Highly Unorthodox Gospel. And this book, I'm telling people, answers the question, what would a gospel crowdfunded by a modern rabbi look like? And the answer is, this is what a gospel written by a highly unorthodox rabbi would write. So it arrived in people's mailboxes 2 days ago. Some people started getting them already. I shipped 200 copies of this, and I'm not 200, almost 200 copies. And I am so proud. That's not true. Over 200 copies. Doesn't matter how many. It doesn't matter. I've sold nearly 200 books. It's just amazing. So that's my, and I'm going to call it a humble brag. It doesn't feel humble at all, but I'm going to just take it as a brag.
Shouldn't have to.
Go ahead, Meg. You got a humble brag for us today?
Yeah, I was highly irritated, absolutely furious at somebody, and I did ask 2 friends for help in terms of how to deal with that, and they helped.
That's amazing.
Hell yeah, Meg.
That's amazing. It's not easy. How many of you, show of hands, like asking for help? Okay, that's pretty quiet. Wow, wait a second. Let me put all of your faces on the screen so everyone can see that. Let me do it again. How many, by a show of hands, enjoy asking for help?
I enjoy, but still.
Okay, it's very few. That's amazing, right? It's really hard to do. So congratulations to those who did. And now we're going to go over to our intern report. Go ahead, Lori. 3 things that Lori learned in the last few weeks.
The first thing that I learned was life is a mixture of good and bad. And the secret for me is when the bad comes, not to pile it on top of each other in my mind so that it seems insurmountable.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Like
It's
a
divide and conquer. Oh, I like that. Okay. You have 2 others?
Yes. This one's really long. I've been setting a lot of boundaries lately. That's
Hold on 1 second. Good for you.
Thank you.
Good for you. That's really hard to do. I have a picture here. This was an actual photo of my first attempt at setting boundaries. Go ahead, Lori. Tell us a little bit more. You actually set a boundary more than that. Go, tell us more.
Yeah, it's not easy, and I realize now how much of my ego is involved in believing that other people always need my help. And if I strip away the part of me that's the helper, I don't know what's left, and that's what I'm doing right now. I'm not gonna stop helping people, but I'm gonna stop helping people to my detriment. And
wait. Let's pause there. Pause there for a round of applause. There are people actually clapping for you.
oh, thank you.
Woohoo!
Thank you. And a
I need
perfect
to learn that
example
too.
was
Wait.
last night.
Hold on 1 more second. Anyone besides Lori and Ron need to learn to stop helping at their own detriment?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
just about everyone. I have one other slide not prepared for this, might fuck around and set some boundaries instead of staying quiet, becoming resentful. I don't know. Could be cute. Setting some boundaries. It's not so easy. Go ahead, Lori. You got a third thing you learned?
Oh, well, I'm still in number 2.
Okay.
Number 2. I also realized that by setting some boundaries around helping people, by not setting boundaries, I was doing a disservice to people that should be learning from their own experiences, right? If I always swoop in and fix the situation, and lately I haven't been able to fix a few situations, which has its effect on me as well. So I need to step back and let people learn and clean up their own messes.
Well, that's just beautiful, Lori. Good work.
Mm-hmm.
Good work.
And do you want number 3?
You know I do. Yeah.
I've been doing some research. I'm doing a service tomorrow on gratitude, and I was doing some research, and I thought I'd pass along that apparently we can get gratitude fatigue, where we just feel like we're doing the same thing over and over again. And so research shows that if you're thankful for something specific, so as opposed to being thankful for family, which we all are, it just becomes something we think or say. And so we should be more specific. So I'm thankful for the person who picked up my stuff off the ground when I dropped my purse, that sort of thing. So I just thought that was really good advice.
That gratitude is better, not just in the abstract, but to be really specific. So that being said, let's take a moment for gratitude. Lori, first, gratitude to you. Religion Outside the Box, best intern ever. And let me...
Only intern ever.
Yeah. So far. But let me take a moment to be grateful for you, Lori. I am learning a lot. Religion Outside the Box has never had an intern. I never had to
what do people want?
Unmask what I'm doing as much as I'm doing. So I appreciate you, Lori, being flexible with me in learning how to do this together. I think that's a specific gratitude. People who haven't spoken yet, who would like to take a moment, what's one specific thing you can be grateful for? One specific thing you're grateful for this morning? Or
I'm Jennifer, and
go, Jennifer.
Should I just jump in? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, do it.
I raised my real hand. That's a problem online. I haven't learned the etiquette yet. Maybe I never will. I'm learning. I have had the opportunity to stop myself. I'm a knowledge and information sponge, and I'm interested in way too many disparate subjects. And, I have to remember to not bore the hell out of people. Giving impromptu lectures on things about like geology or folk religion or whatever it is that I happen to be obsessed with at the moment. And
give us a thing you're grateful for at the moment. What do you got?
I'm grateful that I've been able to not get into those. I'm grateful for the pause that allows me to stop.
I love that.
Pause.
Very good.
Very
I've done
nice.
that several.
Thank you, Jenny.
Yeah.
Jennifer.
Yeah.
There's a quote that I put on a card that goes along with going from instinctive to the requiring of cognitive effort is inherently painful. If instinctually you correct people, if instinctually you save people, if instinctually you get mad at people, going from that instinctive reaction to requiring cognitive effort, to actually thinking about what it is you're saying, thinking about what it is you're doing, and choosing is not easy.
Yeah.
This is the harder path to do. It reminds me, I have two little friends. Do you remember these two guys? It was the thought and then it was the response. It was the thought and the response, and the more space we can have between them, the better. This quote that this card that I just wrote down, going from instinctive to requiring cognitive effort is inherently painful. To not do what you habitually do is not easy. Okay, that was a little tangent, but it fits so right in.
Thank you. Thank you.
You are welcome.
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy. Yeah.
Do we take another moment for gratitude? I mean, what the heck? It is a religious service after all. Go ahead, Lenny.
Well, I have gratitude about a situation that I choose to shut my mouth about.
Mm-hmm.
I so much wanted to say, why didn't you do that? And I did it. I have a girlfriend named Vicky, and we both love to tap, and there's a huge circle of friends who supports all. We all support each other if we're doing a show. And Vicky was doing a show, and she didn't tap into the tap group, which is like 10 or 12 people. And she said, I forgot to tell the tap class that I was doing a show. Well, it was really a lecture, and there would have been so many more people, and I wanted to say, why didn't you? Because everybody supports one another, and she is a big supporter of everybody's talent. And I just shut my mouth and I said, well, there'll be so many more times. You'll do it next time. And
Very nicely done, Lynn.
So proud of
very nice.
Lynn, we're proud of you too. I'm going to speak on behalf of the people. People, if you object to being proud of Lynn, please acknowledge that we're going to do an opt-out session. So only 3 people were not proud of you, Lynn. That's a lot of people who are proud of you. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I want to say this at the start. We aren't all going to like each other all the time. There are people on this Zoom, there are people right here, right now, who are going to annoy you when they talk. And we're not going to like each other all the time. That's true. We're not going to like each other all the time. If you want to learn how to love more wastefully, how to love others more wastefully towards others or towards yourself, if you want to learn how to love more wastefully, pay attention and come back next week. When you, what I see in groups sometimes is someone gets offended and they say, that's it, I'm out, and they just leave. If you want to learn to not hate, we're not going to like each other all the time, but if you want to learn how to love somebody, just keep coming back and keep trying to love them, and that's the way to do it. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about last week. Usually I try as best I can to make every service that you don't have to be here last week for this week's to make sense. So let me do a quick recap of last week, because there was a lot that we were talking about that we didn't get a chance to discuss fully out. And I heard from a lot of people, please, 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 let's have that topic again. So let's talk. Last week we had D.E. Polk on, and he talked about deconstruction. And deconstruction is where you take something that you thought you knew and you find out that thought, you deconstruct that thought. You unlearn what you had known previously. Now, there are some things that I want to show this by way of example. I found this out last night. Australia is wider than the moon. Did you know that? The width of Australia from edge to edge, is 2,500 miles. And the moon, going all the way across the moon, is less wide than that. Now, I want you to take a moment to feel what that feels like in your brain. to learn this thing that you never had learned before. It feels a little, right? I was like, no fucking way. There's no way, like that. Okay, no, okay, that actually does make sense. Maybe the moon's, right, because the moon proportionally to the Earth is smaller than the Earth, and Australia's pretty big, and okay, so maybe, but it tickles the brain on the way down. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Learning this tickles the brain on the way down. This is learning something new is a little bit funny. Unlearning what you knew to be true. Unlearning, not learning something new like Australia being wider than the moon. That's learning something new. Unlearning something you knew, Santa Claus, for example. And then a lot of us relearned to love Santa Claus, and that's fine. But a lot of people have that first moment of unlearning something that they thought to be true. And it's world-shattering. That's why we talk about it's really hard to unlearn something that we thought was true. But our choice is very... I'm going to tell us the story of Plato's caves. But I'm going to tell that in a moment because I see John's waiting patiently. John, did you mean your hand to be raised? Go ahead, John.
You're muted, John.
I know. Just covering up my coughs and sneezes. The term deconstruction to me is something, it's almost bordering on overuse. I hear deconstructed menus, deconstructed recipes, deconstructed. Like, it's something. I like your description about unlearning.
Okay.
I think it's something that's come into the vocabulary to mean probably significantly less than that description you just gave.
Okay.
And
well,
therefore, it's just one of those things that you hear it, I hear it, I say, wait a minute, what's going on here?
To me, it's like the word bespoke all of a sudden became a word that everyone's using. It's like, where did that come from? So maybe bespoke is starting to become overused. Deconstruction, maybe the same. Let's go with the idea behind it, and for lack of a better word, I'm going to keep the phrase deconstruction / unlearning. Unlearning is very uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable to unlearn. So I'm going to retell us the story of Plato's caves. And the story goes like this. A person is locked in a cave. I'm going to do a little drawing. Oh, wait. That's why. Okay, look at that. Okay, I got it. Now there's an echo. Does everyone hear the echo, or is it just on me?
No, I heard it.
I heard it, but I don't hear it now.
It's gone now? Okay. I'm so scared of the echo. So here's Plato's caves. It starts
Don't press that button again.
It starts with a person sitting in a chair. We're going to forgive the art. The person is shackled to the chair and can't move. In front of them is a wall, and behind them is a fire. In between the fire and the person and the wall, people walk freely. This person can't see them. They can't see them because they're shackled and they can only look forward. The shadows of the people who are walking here between the fire and the person, I promise it gets much easier after this setup. So let me just get to the end of the setup. Fire, people walking, somebody strapped to a chair in the cave wall. As these people walk up and down between the fire and the person sees shadows of these people on the wall. You can think of a movie theater, same kind of idea. So the shadow of these people is being projected onto the wall in front. And then let's say we take this person, and I'm going to name this person Jim. Let's say that Jim gets taken outside for the first time in their life, and they see the sun in the sky. They've left the cave. Here's Jim. What is Jim's reaction to seeing the sun for the first time and being outdoors?
Panic.
I loved Dan. Dan, I wish everyone had just seen what you did. Dan, could you say hello for a second so we can see that? Do it again, Dan. Hold on. Go ahead. What is that person's reaction? Oh, wait, we need a little bit. Can we spotlight Dan? Dang it. Now maybe the joke's getting too long. I got Harold and Connie. Okay, there's Dan. There, that's what the person does. Thank you. And now I'm going to painfully try to get back to this screen. This person says, "Oh my God, what the fuck?" Why? Why is this person confused? This is reality. This wasn't reality. This is. Why is the person confused?
Because it was their reality.
Because this was their reality. And it's terrifying to come out of your reality. It's as though at this moment I said, okay, let me peel my human skin off so you can see the lizard person inside. And I go down and I rip my skin off and you see a lizard inside here. We're going to add all that in with special effects afterwards on the recording. But you can imagine if I pulled my skin off and there was like a lizard person inside, you'd be like, you would also say, "Oh my God, what the fuck? This is a little overwhelming." Where does Jim want to be at this very moment? I'll give you
chair.
Back in the chair. Jim wants to be back in the chair. What's the problem with going back to the chair, though? Okay, so let's say Jim goes back to the chair. What's the problem?
He knows
The world is very small.
Yeah.
He knows there's something else.
I heard Rob say it. He knows there's something else. He knows this isn't true anymore. And a lot of people do their best to try to put themselves back in the cave. No, that's not true. This is true. It's too uncomfortable, this. So I'll go back in the cave. But I can't because now I know better.
Not only do you know better,
yeah,
you know that the other people in the cave are actually imprisoned. And you feel a moral obligation to tell them what you've seen, which is why they want to kill you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
No. It's exactly what Carol says. This is exactly what Plato says. That this person realizes that the sun is true. And there's this huge problem that this person comes under. And I used to tell this to my high school students. I used to say, you're going to go to college and you're going to learn things that your parents hadn't learned. And you're going to go home and you're going to say, "Mom, Dad, the reality is not what you thought it was. Reality is not what you taught me." And then what do you think Mom and Dad, who have grown up in the cave, who have never seen the light of day, who have always been in the cave facing the wall, what do Mom and Dad say to Jim when Jim says, no, there's a thing
Take him out of college.
They take him out of college. Plato says exactly what Carol said. Plato says these people killed Jim because he's a heretic. Because he's obviously gone out of his mind. Yeah. Because he believes in this thing that's not reality. And so they kill him. It's sobering, isn't it? Harold, Connie, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
I've got a question. How do you know what the truth is? Just because you see somebody on the wall or just because you see a sun? What's the truth?
That's a great question. Yeah.
We'll know what the truth is.
So here, let's play it out. Jim goes outside for the first time and he has this, "Oh my God, what the fuck? This is insane." But Plato says, and I believe this is true, that over time, he comes more and more comfortable with the new truth that he has seen. He might not like it at first, but Plato's point, one of Plato's ideas is that eventually truth will overcome falsehood. that eventually he'll come to realize that while this was uncomfortable, this is absurd. That's one of my favorite quotes from Voltaire. He says, doubt is uncomfortable. Doubt is uncomfortable, but certainty is ridiculous.
Certainty is also dangerous
Certainty
under many circumstances these days.
That is certainly true.
It isn't always.
Thank you, the three of you, for the pity laugh on what I said. Let's go back to John and Harold. John and then Harold, or Connie.
Plato didn't have to count for AI or high-res graphics or anything like that. That we go out and see what appears to be a sun, and declare it to be reality when it could just be another artificial system.
Why would it be?
It just could be.
We don't know. Now there is a chance that one of you who is on the screen right now is not a real human being and you are just an AI powered bot. And I hope that you believe that is not you, that's somebody else. Go ahead, Harold.
I want to make certain I understand what you're saying. You're saying that if I live in a certain reality over a long period of time, it will become the truth. It still isn't the truth. It's just where I've lived over a long period of time.
Correct. I don't know what it is that gets somebody the ability to be lifted out of this reality and put back down into this reality. I don't know what magic happens that made that happen. Go ahead, Derek, then Ron, then Jack.
Yeah, the reality I've been in is to be afraid of what the hell's going to happen with this election. And what you're telling me is that we'll come out on the other side okay.
I'm not quite sure that's what I was saying, but I like it anyhow. We are going to get out through the other side. It's actually the article that I have in the newsletter that's coming out on Monday talks all about this, about how where we are right now is terribly scary because we don't know the future. And that all the things in the past, stick with me for a moment, it's a little bit of a tangent, but all the things in the past that were terrifying are not as terrifying as things are right now. And the reason for that is because we know the future of the past. We know the future of the past. When we saw the second plane hit the Twin Towers, we didn't know that there wasn't going to be a fifth, a sixth, a seventh. We didn't know what was going to happen on Halloween that year. Y2K, we didn't know what was going to happen. It was terribly frightening. Horror. It was terror. And we're in that terror again right now. I do know, Derek, that we will get through this terror we'll get into something new. But it's really terrifying right now as we don't know the future. We don't know the future we're looking at. Ron, go ahead. And then Jack, I promised.
So this is in response to Harold's question. Early Quakers and most Quakers today who reject the idea of conversion as a conversion experience. They believe in convincement, which is a process.
Oh, I like that.
Now, one of the things that is essential is we believe, speaking as a Quaker, we believe that every person can hear the voice of the divine or the light within or whatnot. But at the same time, early in the Quakers, there was a guy named Naylor who had this leading and who just ran with it. It was wacko. It caused a whole lot of persecution in the Quakers. And the idea is that when you get this leading that is you are seeing the sun and you're realizing that it was just shadows were an illusion, you check it out with other people that you respect. And maybe some disagree with you, but that process of checking it out, the process of checking it out is what gives you true certainty. So
thank you, Ron.
Mhm.
Reminds me for a moment, and then Jack. Oh, wrong button. Oh, please hold on. Look, that's my torso. Shit. There we go. Okay. There's a quote from Immanuel Kant that I think might help us out a little bit. Immanuel Kant says, "Two things fill the mind with new and ever-increasing admiration and awe. The oftener," which I didn't know was a word, but it is, the oftener and the more steadily we reflect on them. The starry heavens above and the moral law within. Two things fill the mind with increasing admiration and awe, the starry heavens above and the moral law within. I think there is some moral law within. I think we all... Jack, go ahead.
Yeah, like like I wrote to you the other day, everything that we believe in is true, but that belief has certain limits, and that's for me is man to God, and what we know to be true that can't be changed is God's gift to us.
Guess a little hard to define some of those terms, but I like where you're going. I had one other hand. Dan, I think you had your hand up. Harold, do you have your hand up again? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment on what Ryan said about the Quakers. It takes a community to verify truth.
Yes.
It takes a community. You cannot verify truth in a closet. So what Ron said about the Quakers and that community got together and verified whatever the gentleman's name was that Ron quoted, verified that truth. And I think that's extremely important because the guy sitting in the chair, you can presume, had a community.
Correct.
And when he got out of the chair and got out into the sun, did he have another community? I have to think so, or he never would have known what the truth was. So I believe it firmly takes a community to verify truth.
And maybe
I don't think that's true.
Okay.
Because sometimes you are
ahead,
in the
Robin.
community that wants to kill you, and there isn't another community, and you have to have faith to keep moving to find a different community.
Thank you, Robin. And I think that's one of the things that keeps people often wanting to be and putting themselves back in the chair is that one of the threats of believing a new thought is losing the community that you had. And it's a terrible threat. And that was what D.E. was talking about. D.E. moved with his community to outside the cave. That's very rare to do. Very rare to do.
Very.
Often people have to leave their friends, and that's a terrible thing. And you would rather just sit back in the cave because you have that community. Go ahead, Carol.
You're muted, Carol.
Oh, you're on mute, Carol. And let me just make a quick little announcement. If you find yourself on mute, that's because there might have been some sound going on, and so somebody muted you. It's not personal.
Forget about Plato. Look at Jesus. He had no community. And somebody has argued that he didn't actually know who he was. He was growing more and more into who he was because of his relationship to God. But when he started out, no one was sure at which point he finally understood who he was. But once he understood who he was, he knew that he had to go the whole way, which was to be killed.
Yeah.
Because he was saying, you guys are wrong. You don't understand what God is asking.
Right.
And people don't want to hear that.
And Jesus, that's what Jesus even asked. This is who you say I am. This is, who am I? Who do you think I am?
Yes, because he didn't know even after he was baptized and the dove came down. He didn't know in the wilderness when Satan tried to tempt him, and so on and so forth. He kept getting inklings, but it's very hard to put them all together to say, is that really what I'm here for? Do I really have to pay the whole price? And I think that's something we all face, that we can't believe you didn't really mean me. You meant the person behind me.
Right. Yeah. Thank you, Carol. Ron, go ahead. And then we're going to go into breakout groups. I would like us to go into. Go ahead, Ron.
Real quick, there have been, going back to the Quaker analogy, there have been many times within the religious society of friends where there has been one person that has become convinced of the truth. An example is John Woolman, who became adamantly opposed to slavery. And people did not want to give up their slaves and refused to give up their slaves. And he eventually convinced the Society of Friends that slavery was incompatible with being a friend. So
thank you, Ron.
It's a process, and it can be one person speaking truth to the whole.
So let me take us. We're going to go into small groups. We're going to have groups of 5, 6 people. You don't have to go into a small group. If you're on a phone, you will be automatically transferred into a small group. And the topic for you is to be able to explore with other people this idea of having to unlearn something, and to be able to share something that you had to unlearn, something that was difficult for you to let go of, some previous thought that you knew in your heart was true, but you had to come to deconstruct, you had to come to unlearn this thing that you held so dear. So Alex, you prepared to give us so we'll do 7 minutes plus 1 at the end. And there's breakout groups. You have a choice to join. Thank you.
Groups are open.
Thank you for setting those up. I'm going to stay back here with anyone who stays back. Let's see what happens. All right, we got this group of people who are staying back. Hello, this group of people. Hi, Steve. Hey, Sari. Hi, Jordan. Candace. Oh, people are still moving about.
Yeah,
if
so
you're
we
on,
had 7-minute timer running, and then at 7 minutes I'll pull them back, and then.
Thank you. Harold and Connie, you want to be here? Or do you want to be moved? So moved. There they go. And it looks like Sari is doing the way from a subway car. That's quite impressive. Jordan, are you here on our?
Yeah. Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah. Do you want to go to another room? Are you happy here?
I'm happy here today. I've been running around doing things simultaneously, getting ready for today. So my head is kind of in 2 places.
Yeah. I think, Jordan, help me on this unlearning thing. Can you put it into politics, where people are so strongly attached to the thoughts that they have that facts don't matter, that people are going to... I refuse to think other than what I've always thought.
I know we're in a small group right now, but I'm always reluctant to talk politics, and I know it's been a bit controversial in this group. I don't know, Brian. Yes, I think.
Let's speak in the abstract. We don't have to use red team and blue team, but
yeah. Well, I think humility is important no matter what you believe, right? And just always examining your assumptions, and you have to have communication, right? You can't communicate with people unless you can
speak with them.
Yeah, and really genuinely try to see things from their perspective with empathy.
Hey, you and I.
It's hard.
Yeah,
it's hard.
Yeah, you and I do phone banking and canvassing in person, and I don't know, in all the phone banking I've done, in the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dials that I've made, I don't know that I've convinced anyone to change their mind. I might have convinced them to actually show up to the polls.
Yes. I think that it's really, really rare being able to change somebody's mind with a phone call.
and showing up at their doorstep. We've knocked on hundreds of doors.
Yeah.
I don't think we changed anybody's mind.
I mean, maybe if the candidate themselves show up at the door, they have a better chance than you and I do. But yeah. Right. I mean, we could talk about campaign tactics, but yeah, I think get out the vote is. I think they know this. I think they know that the best use of volunteers is getting out the vote for people is actually going to vote in your way. Persuasion is a lot more difficult.
Yeah.
Maybe impossible.
Reminds me of a quote from Mark Twain, who said, "It's easier to fool people than to convince them they've been fooled."
Yeah, that's a good point.
Once people believe a certain thing, that's it. Those are my beliefs. Don't take them away from me.
He had another one I really liked, and I'm paraphrasing. I don't remember exactly how he said it, but something like, everybody always complains about the weather, but nobody actually does anything about it. I'm going to look that one up, see if I can find it.
Well, I like that very much.
Yeah.
We'll just trade Mark Twain quotes. Don't ever argue with an idiot. He'll drag you down to his level and beat you with years of experience.
I'm looking for it. I'm looking to see if I can find that quote. It's a good one.
Almond.
Okay. Oh, good. Unlearning.
Unlearning.
Oh, you found the quote, Jordan?
Yeah, it's one of those quotes that people aren't exactly sure where it comes from, but he did at least quote somebody else saying, "Everybody talks about the weather, but nobody does anything about it."
I love that.
Yeah.
I wrote into Quote Investigator at some point. I can't even remember what the quote was, but they did respond. They said, "We're looking into this one. We'll let you know when we find out."
Honestly, I just found it by Googling. I didn't even know about this site. That's cool.
Oh, Quote Investigator? They're great.
Yeah.
They go deep.
Love that.
Alex, how are we doing on time, my friend?
We have 1 minute before the callback.
Okay, we'll see what happens. Alex, anything in particular you've had to unlearn?
I think I'm still working on unlearning some of the stuff that my mom kind of dumped on me.
Shit, yeah, right? That's inside the cave.
There's usually every Friday I clean house here. and I clean the bathrooms, and I vacuum the lovely pink carpets so that so that it ends up with these beautiful, nice lawnmower rows from the vacuum, and I like that I have a house that is in really great condition, so I can keep it clean and nice, except for the clutter in my office, because that doesn't count. But I also hear her criticism a lot of the time. As I'm doing this, this subroutine in my mind, I can hear her, complaining that I haven't cleaned the bathroom clean enough, or that I didn't vacuum the carpet in the right way,
Yeah.
and I mean, it's, and I realize it's all imaginary, right? And, there's a few times where I've like shut off the vacuum, put down my cleaning rag, and actually turned to my imaginary mother and said, shut the F up, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And it is really been a lot harder to unlearn that.
I love that you brought that
than
up,
I thought it would.
Alex. I love that our self beliefs are things that we have learned, and unlearning that I'm a fool, or unlearning that I'm a slob, or unlearning whatever it is about ourselves that's great. Thank you. Aaron, welcome in. We're in breakout rooms right now.
I just had a really strange experience where no one else seemed to know I was in the room.
No, we saw you. Alex was just sharing. We all went into small groups. So
yeah, I know. I left because I was like, it seemed like certain people didn't see me. I mean, literally.
Yeah, we're feeling
like,
invisible.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was, and I have mental challenges, and sometimes that's hard to tell. Anyways.
Glad you're here.
Just
Holly, as you just joined back, thank you for last week posting on Facebook and keeping up with the Facebook. Any help you can give on Facebook is really appreciated. Before we share out on this, I can't believe the time has already flown as fast as it did. We do have some people we want to say some prayers for. Maria, can you lead us for a little bit of prayer time?
I can. These are the people to whom we are sending light and love. Ken in Spirit and Joe, Carolyn, Brandon, Flint and Porter, Lauren, Ryan, Addie and Lincoln, and the Ludwig and Applebaum families. Sheridan H., Ann M., Shirley W., Judy Love and her family, Rich and Meg, Mish and Payson, Jill and Saul, Mia and Hannah and their supporters, Gina, Sue, P's sister, Reed and Gwen, Bill and Karen, Tane and Kelly, Greg, Rita, Sally, Norma in Spirit and Nancy, Yuval, Becca, Jenny and Lorena, Cullen, Lisa, and Aurelia Mondragon. If there is another person in our community to whom we can offer light and love, please put their name in the chat and I will add them to the list on Facebook. And for people who aren't named, but who are in our thoughts, we send them light and love as well.
Thank you, Maria. Let's take a minute of time right now just to think of all those people. Okay, thank you. Thank you all very much. I want to share a thought that came out of our group, and if there's some very large piece that came from your group. In our group, it was mentioned that sometimes the thing that needs to be unlearned is something that we learned in our childhood about ourselves that isn't true. You're not deserving of love. Or you're always going to be a slob. Or any of these beliefs that we picked up as kids from the adults around us. It is... Oh, that's all. Just that sometimes it is what we learned as kids that we need to unlearn. It's not an easy task to do. Something else that came out of your group? What's a learning that came out of the group that you were in that you want to share with us as a whole? Okay, first of all, was there anyone who was in a small group?
Ray has his hand raised.
Go ahead, Ray.
I think for us was that learning to unlearn the things that our parents had taught us that in reality held us back.
Amen.
And we had to learn to become who we truly were and to be able to live with that. And for me, anyway, being able to say, this is who I truly am. I no longer fit in that clan. And to be absolutely happy with it. To be content.
Amen. It's hard to do. It's very hard to do. Go ahead, Janet.
In our group, we all talked about images of ourselves or hopes for ourselves as adults and things, how they've changed. Oh, excuse me, I'm going to stomp this.
Yeah.
And some of it being older and finding ourselves with limited time to change that image. It sort of colors what our lives are.
And let me also remind us all, it is exhausting to unlearn and to do something consciously that we were just on autopilot and we didn't have to think about. You don't have to think about your thoughts. It takes great effort to unlearn something that you thought you knew was true. I'm going to do some quick announcements because I can't run this service without telling you this. Folks, it is okay not to be okay. It is okay not to be okay. This, you're allowed to say to the person at the checkout stand who says, "How are you?" You're allowed to say, "I'm having a really hard time." And then see how the conversation goes. It's okay to not be okay, and I think it's important that we normalize that everything's fine is bullshit. Okay. If you want to stick around, I'm going to stop the recording in a minute, and we have a sharing care. We have some larger breakout rooms that are not broadcast, so if you would like to join that, or a deep dive room that we have, or a poetry room, we have a clergy corner, and we have a special room for divergent thinkers, and that just means that somehow you know that your thoughts are not the same as everyone else's thoughts, which I think could fit just about everyone's. But if you like to go to that group, we can. Let's take a moment. Let me take a moment to thank all my helpers. Thank everyone who helps this service and helps me throughout the week to think about what it is that we're talking about. I thought I saw a hand go up, but no, we're all good. So let me bring us to everybody on the screen. There's everybody on the screen. There's everyone on the screen. Let's wave to the nice people who are on YouTube, and let's wave to the not nice people who are on YouTube also, and anyone watching.